Hey everyone. Welcome to AfriHeart Stories, your go-to spot for African tales. Don't forget to like, subscribe and drop a comment. Now sit back and enjoy. The house was quiet except for the rhythmic ticking of the old wall clock. Amara shifted in her sleep, exhaustion clinging to her like a second skin. It had been another long day of managing the home, keeping up with Chitty's playful energy, and waiting for Tun's call that never came. She rolled over and pulled the wrapper tighter around her. Then she heard it, a soft whimper. Mama? Her eyes flew open. Chitty. Amara sat up, her heart already racing. She reached for the small lamp by the bedside and switched it on. The faint glow revealed her son curled up, beads of sweat rolling down his forehead. His little chest rose and fell rapidly, each breath shallow, uneven. She touched his skin and gasped. Chinik. You're burning up, she whispered, panic tightening her chest. Water, Mama, Chitty croaked, his lips cracked and dry. Amara rushed to the kitchen, filled a glass, and returned to lift his frail body into her arms. He sipped weakly, eyes half shut. She could feel the heat radiating off him like fire beneath his skin. This wasn't an ordinary fever. Her hands trembled as she grabbed her phone. The screen lit up, midnight. She scrolled through her contacts and pressed Tund. Her husband should have been back from his so-called business trip 2 days ago. But his phone had been off all evening. Please God let him pick, she whispered as the call rang. Once, twice, 3 times, then straight to voicemail. She tried again. And again. Nothing. Her breathing grew shallow. She didn't have the luxury of waiting for him. She wrapped Chitty in a blanket, tied her headscarf and carried him out the door. The night air slapped her face but she didn't care. She flagged down an Okada rider, shouting, "To St. Mary's Clinic. Please hurry." The rider hesitated when he saw the child slumped in her arms. Madam, this Pekin fit no survive. Oh. Shut your mouth and drive. Amara snapped, desperation sharpening her voice. The bike sped through the silent streets, past sleeping shops and flickering streetlights. Amara held Chitty tighter, whispering prayers with every bump on the road. At the clinic she burst through the doors. Help. Somebody help. Nurses rushed forward. One grabbed Chitty, another pulled Amara aside. Within minutes, Chitty was laid on a hospital bed, hooked up to 4 fluids. His tiny wrist looked so fragile under the medical tape. Amara's eyes filled with tears. She wanted to scream, to collapse, but she forced herself to stay upright. A doctor entered, flipping through a chart. Madam, are you the mother? Yes, yes. He adjusted his glasses. Your son's case is serious. The fever is dangerously high and his blood counts are unusual. We suspect leukemia, but we need further tests immediately. The words hit her like a slap. Leukemia? Her voice broke. The doctor nodded gravely. We'll run urgent tests, but treatment must begin quickly. It won't be easy. Or cheap. Amara's legs almost gave way. She gripped the edge of the bed for balance. Her eyes darted to her son's pale face, the way his small fingers twitched as if he was still trying to hold on. Do whatever you must. Just save him, she pleaded. The doctor gave a sympathetic nod. We'll do our best. But prepare yourself, the costs are high. Her heart sank. Costs. Always costs. She thought of Tund, his recent bonus, his promises of family first. He told her before he traveled that money wasn't an issue anymore. Surely he would help. Surely. Amara pulled out her phone again and dialed. Still nothing. Her frustration spilled into whispered anger. Tund, where are you? Your son is dying. Hours crawled by as nurses bustled in and out. Amara stayed rooted by Chitty's side, holding his hand, humming lullabies through her tears. At dawn, the doctor returned with test results. Madam, it is as we feared. Your child has acute leukemia. We need to start specialized treatment immediately, but the initial deposit is 500,000 naira. Amara's mouth went dry. What? 500,000, the doctor repeated firmly. And more will be required as treatment progresses. Without it, his eyes softened. Your son won't survive long. The world spun around her. 500,000. They barely had 50,000 in savings. But Tund? Yes, Tund had just received a huge payout from his company. He had assured her they were secure. Relief surged through her chest. I'll get the money, she said quickly, almost too quickly. My husband just got his bonus. He'll pay. The doctor nodded curtly. Please act fast. Every day matters. Amara squeezed her son's hand. Did you hear that, my love? Daddy will fix everything. Just hold on. Chitty gave the faintest nod, his eyes fluttering shut again. By morning, Amara was back home, rummaging through drawers, cupboards, every corner where Tund might have kept receipts. She found his wardrobe half empty, several suits missing. She frowned. Something wasn't right. Her hands trembled as she opened his drawer. Stacks of receipts tumbled out, luxury resorts, beachside villas, spa treatments. Amara froze. Her eyes darted across one receipt, dated just yesterday. Royal Palms Resort, Deluxe Suite. No, this can't be, she whispered, her chest tightening. Her phone buzzed. Ngozi, her friend, had sent her a message. She opened it with shaky fingers. It was a picture. There was Tund, smiling in sunglasses, an arm wrapped around Kemi, his secretary. They were at the beach, cocktails in hand, looking like a couple celebrating life. The ground beneath Amara seemed to disappear. She sank to the floor, the photo burning into her eyes. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "While our son is dying, you're here?" Her phone vibrated again, a text from Tund. Hope flickered for a second as she opened it. "Don't disturb me. Handle things yourself." The words blurred as tears filled her eyes. Amara clutched her chest, choking back a scream. Her entire world, everything she believed in, collapsed in that instant. In the hospital, her son lay fighting for his life. And the man who promised to protect them was basking in luxury with another woman. For the first time, Amara realized she was on her own. Amara's knees weakened as she stared at Tund's cold text. She wanted to scream, to throw the phone across the room, but she couldn't waste energy. Chidi needed her. She shoved the phone in her bag, wiped her tears, and forced herself back to the hospital. When she arrived, Dr. Ibrahim met her at the corridor. "Madam, time is slipping. We need the deposit today." "I know, doctor. My husband will bring the money." She said it with shaky confidence. But doubt gnawed at her. The receipts haunted her mind. The picture burned her heart. Still, she clung to hope. Maybe Tund would come back to his senses. She dialed again. Voicemail. Again. Nothing. Finally, after her 10th attempt, the line connected. "Hello." His voice was low, irritated. "Tund? Thank God. Chidi is in the hospital. They said it's leukemia. We need $500,000 immediately." Silence. Then a sigh. "Amara, you always exaggerate. Every little thing is drama to you. I'm in the middle of something important." "Important?" Her voice cracked. "Your son is dying. This is not malaria. It's cancer." Tund chuckled. "Stop embarrassing me with your emotional nonsense. Handle it." The line went dead. Amara's hand trembled as she lowered the phone. She leaned against the wall, sobbing quietly. Her best friend, Ngozi, arrived moments later carrying food. "Amara, what happened?" Ngozi asked, alarmed. Amara showed her the receipts. Ngozi scrolled through, her jaw tightening. "So he took the money meant for his son's life and is spending it on that snake?" "I don't know what to do, Ngozi." "You do what you must," Ngozi said firmly. "Beg, borrow, fight, whatever it takes. Chidi needs you. Not him." Amara nodded through tears, her resolve hardening. If Tund wouldn't save his son, she would. Ngozi wasn't done. She pulled out her phone. "Amara, you need to see this." On the screen there was Tund again, shirtless, drink in hand, waves behind him. Kemi in a bikini beside him, laughing. The caption read, "Living life with the best boss ever." Amara's stomach turned. She almost vomited. She had to grip the bed rail to steady herself. Her son coughed weakly. "Mama?" She rushed to his side, forcing a smile. "Yes, my love. Mama is here." "Where's Daddy?" The question stabbed her. She hesitated, stroking his hair. "Daddy is busy, but Mama is here. Always." Later she called Tund again. This time he answered with laughter in the background. "Didn't I tell you to stop disturbing me? You're ruining my mood." "Ruining your mood? Chidi can die any minute, Tund. That's your problem. Handle things like a woman." Before she could reply, he hung up again. Her body shook with anger. Ngozi hugged her tightly. "Don't cry where Chidi can see. He needs your strength. Let the coward rot with his mistress." Amara nodded, wiping her tears. That night, she stayed awake at Chidi's bedside, holding his tiny hand as his breathing grew shallower. The days blurred together in a haze of beeping machines and whispered prayers. Amara slept on a plastic chair, refusing to leave Chidi's side. Nurses whispered behind her back. "See that poor woman? Her husband ran away with another lady. God forbid. Men are wicked." Amara heard them, but she pretended not to. She couldn't afford the luxury of shame. When Chidi whimpered in pain, she sang him lullabies. When he asked for food, she gave him small spoonfuls even when he vomited them back. One night, as she hummed softly, Chitty whispered, "Mama, am I going to heaven?" Tears blurred her eyes. She kissed his forehead. "No, my child. You're going to live. You'll grow tall and strong and run faster than all your friends." His lips curved into a faint smile before he drifted back to sleep. Her phone buzzed with another message from Tund. "Stop calling me. You're disgracing me." Amara pressed her fist to her mouth, muffling a scream. Desperation pushed Amara to Tund's office. She barged in, clutching the hospital bills. His colleagues looked up in shock. "Tund, our son is dying. Please help him," she pleaded. Tund leaned back in his chair, Kemi at his side. He smirked. "Stop exaggerating. Why bring family drama here? It's not drama. He needs urgent treatment." He stood, straightening his tie. "Listen, woman. Chitty is not my problem alone. Don't embarrass me." Gasps echoed around the office. Amara's lips trembled. "You're his father." "Enough." Tund barked. He grabbed Kemi's hand and walked out, leaving Amara frozen in shame. Her legs gave way and she collapsed on the floor. Colleagues whispered, pity in their eyes, but no one helped her up. Amara stumbled out of the office building, her face streaked with tears. She sat on a bench, trembling. That's when a man in a neat gray suit approached. "Madam, are you all right?" She looked up at his kind eyes. "No, my son is dying. His father abandoned us." The man sat beside her. "Tell me what happened." Through sobs she told him everything. He listened silently, nodding. Finally he said, "My name is Ifani. I know pain. I lost my wife to cancer last year. I can't bring her back, but maybe I can help you keep your son." Amara blinked at him, stunned. "Why would you help me?" He smiled softly. "Because no child deserves to suffer for a father's sins." That night he transferred a large sum to the hospital. For the first time in weeks, Amara felt hope. Even with Ifani's help, more money was needed. Amara refused to be helpless. She began working at dawn, cleaning offices. At night, she fried akara by the roadside, selling to passers-by. Her hands blistered, her feet swelled, but she pushed on. Each naira she earned went into Chitty's treatment fund. When nurses whispered about her again, she ignored them. "A woman's dignity is not in silence. It is in sacrifice," she told herself. Chitty, growing weaker, asked one night, "Mama, why do you look so tired?" She forced a smile. "Because I am fighting for you, my warrior." He squeezed her hand with what little strength he had. "I'll fight too." One afternoon, Tund swaggered into the hospital, Kemi on his arm. He wore a new designer suit, his cologne filling the ward. "Still begging strangers, Amara?" he sneered. "You're making me look weak." Amara's body shook with fury. "Wait, you abandoned your son." The doctor stepped in. "Sir, your child's life depends on your support." Tund shrugged. "Not my concern. I'm busy." That was the final straw. Amara's voice rang across the ward. "You are no longer a father to this child. Leave." Gasps echoed. Even Kemi shifted uneasily. But Tund only smirked and walked out. Amara sank to her knees, hugging Chitty tightly. "It's you and me, my love. Always." Chapter 9: Chitty's Worst Night. That night, Chitty's body convulsed violently. Machines beeped frantically. Nurses rushed in. "Seizure," someone shouted. Amara screamed, clutching her son's hand. "Please God, don't take him." Dr. Ibrahim ordered, "Prepare oxygen. Stabilize him." Minutes felt like hours. Finally, Chitty lay still, unconscious. The doctor turned to her. "He's in a coma. Without advanced treatment, he won't last." Amara collapsed beside the bed, sobbing. She prayed, her voice trembling. "Lord, take my strength, take my life, just don't take my son." Her tears fell on Chitty's frail hand. She didn't know if he could hear, but she whispered fiercely, "Fight, my child. Mama will never let go." The morning after Chitty slipped into coma, Amara sat in the hospital chapel, hands clasped tight. Her eyes were swollen from tears, her lips moving silently. She was exhausted, but determination kept her upright. A gentle voice interrupted. "Madame Amara?" She turned. It was Dr. Ibrahim. His expression softened. "We are trying our best, but the bills—" Amara nodded, already aware. "I don't know where else to turn." "His father?" Her voice broke. Dr. Ibrahim placed a hand on her shoulder. "We won't give up on him. In fact, we've launched a small fundraiser. The staff and some patients' families have started donating. Every kobo helps." Amara's eyes widened. "You did that? For Chitty?" He nodded. Because we see how much you fight for him. People notice. Later that day, strangers trickled into the ward. Some pressed envelopes into her hand, others whispered blessings. An old neighbor, Mama Ebra, shuffled in with her walking stick. She handed Amara a small bundle of cash. It's all I have left, my daughter. Use it for Chitty. No child should pay for a father's sins. Amara hugged her tightly, tears falling freely. By nightfall the donations had grown. And Ifani added another large contribution quietly, refusing thanks. For the first time in weeks, hope began to shine through Amara's darkness. Amara was stepping out of Chitty's ward when Kemi appeared in the corridor, heels clicking on the tiles. She smirked. So, this is what you've become? A beggar waiting for scraps from strangers? Amara froze, fury rising. Kemi flaunted her gold bracelet. He chose me because I'm strong. You're just weak. Amara's voice was calm but steady. A woman's strength is not in jewelry or men's money. It is in sacrifice. And sacrifice is something you will never understand. Kemi laughed mockingly. Keep telling yourself that while I'm living in luxury. Amara didn't reply. She simply walked past, her dignity intact. But her heart burned with determination. She would prove that true strength wasn't in wealth, but in resilience. Inside the ward, she kissed Chitty's forehead and whispered, "No one can take my strength from me. Not your father. Not her." The next week, with the funds gathered, the hospital began advanced treatment. Chitty's body, frail and fragile, fought back. Amara barely left his side, feeding him soup when he stirred, wiping his sweat when he trembled. After days of agony, his breathing grew steadier. His eyelids fluttered open. "Mama?" Amara cried with relief, hugging him gently. "Yes, my warrior. Mama is here." Dr. Ibrahim checked the charts. He's responding. This is a good sign. But the road ahead is long. Amara clasped her hands in gratitude. "Thank you, Lord." That night, she told Chitty stories again, but this time her voice carried hope. For the first time she dared to dream that maybe, just maybe, he would survive. Meanwhile, Tun's world was crumbling. At work, whispers spread. Auditors had discovered money missing. The same funds he'd stolen for his lavish vacation. At a board meeting, his boss slammed files onto the table. "Tund, you embezzled company funds. You're suspended pending investigation." Colleagues averted their eyes. Kemi's smile faltered. Outside the building, reporters hounded him with cameras. "Mr. Tund, is it true you used company money for a beach getaway?" Humiliated, Tund shoved them aside. He called Kemi, but she didn't answer. When he reached home, the house felt emptier than ever. He poured himself drink after drink, muttering, "Ungrateful people, everyone against me." But deep inside he knew the truth. His empire was crumbling because of his own betrayal. Weeks later, Amara was approached by a lawyer, Barrister Okoye. "Madam, your husband abandoned his responsibility. You can sue him for child neglect." Amara hesitated. "Sue him? I don't want drama. I just want my son to live." The lawyer leaned forward. "And that is exactly why you must act. Justice isn't drama, it is survival." In court, Amara stood nervously as Tund entered, disheveled. The judge looked down sternly. "Mrs. Amara, state your case." She spoke, voice trembling but clear. "My husband abandoned our child in the hospital. He spent the treatment money on a vacation with another woman. My son was left to die." Gasps filled the courtroom. Tund scoffed, but the evidence, receipts, photos, spoke louder. The judge slammed his gavel. "Mr. Tund, you are hereby ordered to pay damages and child support." This court recognizes Amara as the sole guardian. Tears streamed down Amara's cheeks. For once, justice was on her side. Back at the hospital, Chitty's condition steadily improved. On his 7th birthday, Amara decorated his room with balloons from donations. Chitty whispered, his voice frail but clear, "Mama, you are my hero." Amara covered her mouth, sobbing. "No, my son. You are mine." The staff joined in singing, bringing a small cake. Laughter echoed in the ward for the first time in months. When Ifani stopped by, Chitty hugged him too. "Uncle Ifani, thank you." The businessman smiled warmly. "You are the real fighter, Chitty." For Amara, those words from her son meant more than all the wealth Tund ever wasted. Meanwhile, Kemi was growing restless. She noticed Tund's car repossessed, his phone buzzing with debt collectors. "Tund, I didn't sign up for this." "You said you were wealthy," she snapped. He poured another drink. "It's just temporary. Stay with me." She laughed bitterly. "Temporary? You're finished." "I'm not wasting my youth on a failure." The next day she left with another wealthy man. Desperate, Tun stumbled to Amara's house. He knelt. Amara, forgive me. Take me back. I'll change. Amara stared coldly. You abandoned us when we needed you most. Now we don't need you anymore. She closed the door in his face. Ifani continued to visit, always respectful, never imposing. One afternoon he approached Amara. I have an opening at my company. It's in administration. I believe you'd be perfect. Amara blinked, surprised. Me? But I've been out of work for years. You've managed crises, balanced bills, and kept faith when the world abandoned you. That is strength. She accepted. Within weeks, she found herself working in a stable job, earning respect from colleagues. Slowly, her life began to rebuild, not as a dependent wife, but as an independent woman. And though she noticed the way Ifani's eyes lingered warmly, she reminded herself, her priority was still Chidi. One evening, as Amara was leaving the hospital, she saw a disheveled figure by Chidi's ward. It was Tund. He stumbled inside, smelling of alcohol. Chidi's eyes widened. Daddy? Tund's face crumpled. He reached out. Son, it's me. Please, forgive me. But Chidi turned away, his small voice firm. Where were you when I was sick? Uncle Ifani was here. Mama was here. Not you. The rejection pierced Tund's heart like a knife. He sank into a chair, sobbing. For the first time he tasted the bitterness of betrayal. His own. Amara stood silently at the door, tears in her eyes. Not of pity but of closure. The morning sun filtered gently through the hospital blinds, casting warm stripes of light across Chidi's bed. Amara had barely closed her eyes when she heard a sound she had prayed for every night, her son's laughter. It was soft, fragile, like a bird testing its wings after a storm, but it was laughter all the same. Mama, Chidi whispered, smiling weakly, I dreamed I was running, and I wasn't tired. Tears pricked Amara's eyes. She leaned down and kissed his forehead. One day soon, my warrior, you'll run for real. You'll outrun the wind itself. Dr. Ibrahim entered, flipping through the latest test results. His face lit up. Good news, Madam Amara. The treatments are working. The cancer is retreating. Your son is officially in remission. The words felt unreal, echoing in her ears. She clutched her chest, overwhelmed. In a remission? Yes, the doctor confirmed, smiling warmly. It will take time for full recovery, but Chidi has fought through the worst. He is a survivor. Amara fell to her knees right there, tears streaming down her face. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, she cried, her voice trembling with joy. Nurses passing by paused to watch, some wiping their own eyes. Chidi tugged weakly at her wrapper. Mama, don't cry. I told you I'd fight. She laughed through tears, pulling him into her arms. Yes, my son. You fought harder than anyone I know. Later that evening, the hospital organized a small celebration. Balloons were tied to Chidi's bed and nurses brought out cupcakes. The entire ward gathered, clapping and singing as if it were his second birthday. Mama, they're singing for me. Chidi grinned, his eyes sparkling. Yes, love. Because you are a miracle. Dr. Ibrahim raised a glass of juice. To Chidi, the boy who refused to give up, and to his mother, whose strength carried him through. Everyone cheered. Amara lowered her head humbly, whispering, It was God, not me. But deep down, she knew her sacrifices had been part of this miracle. Later that night, as the ward quieted, Ifani arrived carrying a gift bag. Permission to see the hero? He asked with a playful smile. Chidi beamed. Uncle Ifani. He pulled out a toy car and placed it in Chidi's hands. A champion deserves his victory gift. Chidi giggled, zooming the car along the sheets. Thank you. Ifani turned to Amara. You look lighter, Amara. As if the sun has finally remembered to shine on you. She smiled faintly. It feels that way. For months I thought I'd lose him. Now, I can finally breathe. He studied her silently for a moment. You know, strength looks beautiful on you. Amara's cheeks warmed. She looked away quickly. Thank you, Ifani. For everything. Without you. He shook his head. Don't thank me. Thank yourself. You carried the weight of two parents. You never broke. Before she could respond, a voice cut through the doorway. Amara. Her chest tightened instantly. She turned. Tun stood there, his once sharp suit now wrinkled, his shoes dusty, his eyes hollow. He looked older, beaten. I heard. Chidi is better, he muttered. Amara's arms instinctively went around her son. Yes, he's alive. Despite you, not because of you. Tun's lips trembled. He stepped closer. I know I failed. I was blind, foolish. But please, Amara, give me a chance to make it right. Her eyes burned with fury. Make it right? You left us to die. You spent your son's lifeline on champagne and beaches. Do you think words erase that? Chitty looked up at him, his face calm but cold. Daddy, I don't need you. Mama and Uncle Ifani took care of me. Where were you when I was sick? The rejection hit Tun like a blow. He staggered back, tears filling his eyes. Son, please. But Chitty turned away, clutching his toy car. Go away. Silence filled the room. Nurses exchanged glances, pity flickering in their eyes. Amara straightened her shoulders. Her voice was low but firm. Tun, leave. This room is for healing, not for guilt. Tun stood frozen for a long moment. Then, defeated, he lowered his head and walked out slowly, his shoulders slumped. As the door closed, Chitty sighed in relief. Mama, can we forget him? Amara kissed his forehead. Yes, my child. We already did. Later, alone in the chapel, Amara knelt at the altar. Father, thank you for sparing my son. Thank you for the strength you gave me. And thank you for showing me who truly stands by me. Her voice cracked as she added, I release the pain, Lord. I release Tun's betrayal. My heart is free. She rose, her face calm. For the first time in months, she didn't feel broken. She felt whole. The next day, as she walked through the hospital garden, she saw Chitty sitting on a bench with Ifani, the toy car in his hands. He was laughing freely, sunlight bouncing off his smooth skin. Uncle Ifani, when I grow up, I'll buy you a big car, Chitty declared. Ifani chuckled. And I'll remind you that you promised. Amara stood watching, her heart swelling. This was her new beginning, no longer chained to betrayal, no longer defined by pain. She had fought through fire and survived. She whispered to herself, from ashes we rise. Years passed like pages in a book, each one carrying Amara and Chitty further from the shadows of the hospital ward, further from betrayal, further from pain. What remained was the strength of a mother's love, a son's resilience, and the healing hand of time. On this morning, the auditorium of St. Mary's University overflowed with people. Parents carried flowers, cameras flashed, and students in flowing gowns adjusted their caps nervously. The air was thick with pride, expectation, and joy. Amara sat in the second row, dressed in a simple but elegant blue gown. Her hair, streaked now with a touch of gray, was wrapped neatly. Her eyes shimmered with tears as she scanned the crowd of graduates, searching for the one face that meant the world to her. There he was, Chitty. No longer the frail boy lying under tubes and machines, but a tall, strong young man of 21, his dark skin glowing under the morning light. His broad shoulders filled the graduation gown, and his smile radiated confidence. Mama, he whispered as he passed her seat, pausing to clasp her hand. This day is for you. Amara squeezed his fingers, her heart swelling. No, my son. It is yours. You fought for it. The ceremony began, speeches rolling on about perseverance, excellence, and destiny. But Amara barely heard them. Her mind replayed the long nights in the hospital, the sound of machines beeping, the taste of tears she had swallowed so her son wouldn't see her break. When Chitty's name was called, the hall erupted with applause. He walked across the stage with firm steps, shook the dean's hand, and held up his certificate with pride. The cameras flashed, capturing a moment that was nothing short of a miracle. In that moment, Amara whispered a prayer of gratitude. Lord, you kept him. You kept me. As the ceremony ended, Chitty found her in the crowd and pulled her into a tight embrace. Mama, I dedicate this degree to you. Everything I am, everything I will ever be, it's because you never gave up. Her tears spilled freely now. You are my crown, Chitty. My greatest reward. Behind them, a familiar voice spoke warmly. Well said. Amara turned. Ifani stood there, smiling proudly. Time had been kind to him. Though older now, his presence was steady and commanding. Over the years, he had been more than a helper. He had become a pillar, a companion, and eventually, a husband. Chitty hugged him too. Uncle, no, Papa Ifani, thank you for standing by us. Ifani's eyes glistened. Thank you for letting me be part of your journey. The three of them stood together, framed by applause and joy. For Amara, this was the family she had fought for, one built not on wealth or appearances but on love, sacrifice, and faith. Yet, somewhere in the crowd, another pair of eyes watched silently. Tund. He stood at the back, his clothes worn, his face lined with regret. Time had not been merciful to him. Once a man who flaunted wealth and arrogance, now he was a shadow of himself, broken by years of poor choices and loneliness. He leaned against a wall, watching his son in the gown he had never contributed to, smiling through tears he could not stop. His hands trembled as he whispered to himself, "That should have been me beside them, but I chose the world over my family." As the graduates and families spilled into the courtyard for photos, Tund lingered at the edge. Chitty spotted him. For a long moment father and son locked eyes. Tund lowered his gaze, ashamed. He turned to leave, but Chitty's voice carried across the courtyard. "Daddy?" The crowd fell silent. Amara turned, startled. Tund froze. Slowly he turned back, hope flickering in his weary eyes. Chitty walked toward him. He stopped a few feet away, his voice steady. "I don't hate you. But I can't forget what you did. Mama carried me when you abandoned us. She is my true hero." Tund's lips trembled. "Son, I destroyed everything. I don't deserve your forgiveness." Chitty took a deep breath. "You don't. But for my own peace I forgive you. I just can't let you back into my life." The words cut deep, but Tund nodded slowly, tears streaming down his face. "That's more than I deserve. Thank you, my boy." He turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd, leaving behind only the echo of what could have been. Amara watched, her hand on her chest. For years she had dreamed of this moment, not of reconciliation but of release. She turned to Chitty. "You did well. Forgiveness frees the soul, even if the wound leaves a scar." Chitty smiled faintly. "I learned that from you, Mama." Later that evening, back at home, the family gathered around a small celebration dinner. Ifani raised a glass. "To Chitty, the warrior who lived, the son who conquered, and the man who will change the world." "To Mama," Chitty corrected, raising his own glass of juice. "The woman who fought heaven and earth for me. My first teacher, my guardian angel." Everyone clapped. Amara's cheeks flushed with humility. "Enough, both of you. I only did what any mother would." But deep down, she knew not every mother could have borne what she had endured. She had lost a husband but gained strength. She had faced betrayal but found true love. She had almost lost her son but now watched him flourish. That night, when the house grew quiet, Amara stood by the window looking at the moon. A gentle breeze brushed her face. "I have the life I deserve," she whispered. "Not the one he promised but the one God gave me. And it is enough." Behind her, Ifani came and slipped his arm around her shoulders. She leaned into him, her heart finally at peace. In the next room, Chitty laughed over the phone with friends, his voice strong, full of dreams for the future. And in the silence of the night, Amara smiled. Her journey had been one of pain and betrayal, but it ended in triumph. She had proven that no betrayal, no abandonment, not even the shadow of death could break the spirit of a mother fighting for her child. She had lost everything once, but she had gained it all back and more. Liked it? Thumbs up, subscribe and join the AfriHeart fam. Your support fuels our stories. Until next time.